Yeah, hopefully you were watching SportsMax at the weekend to watch Australia add a 9th ICC World title to their trophy cabinet, winning the World Test Championship at the Oval in London. Here's Gerard Marseille recapping Sunday's final day.
The umpires and the players walk onto the field. You can feel the atmosphere.
Virat Kohli and Ajinkya Rahane striding to the crease on the final day of the World Test Championship. India resuming on 164 for 3, 280 runs away from a world record chase, 444. Rahane's early boundary may have given Indian fans hope of reaching the target, but that hope was quickly taken away when Steve Smith delivered a moment of class to remove King Kohli for 49.
That's pulled off a beauty, and it's Virat Kohli. Mentioned Boland is bowling well, the rhythm's good. And
Scott Boland then got rid of Ravi Jadeja 2 balls later to end with 3 wickets in the innings. Rahane tried to replicate what he did in the first innings and take control, but he couldn't push on and was dismissed by Mitchell Starc for 46 with the score at 212 for 6. That dismissal triggered an all-too-familiar lower order collapse, India losing their remaining 4 wickets for 22 runs. Nathan Lyon ended as the pick of the Aussie bowlers with 4 for 41. Lyon to Mohammad Siraj, the easy catch gifted to Boland a backward point. India all out for 234. Australia win by 209 runs to be crowned World Test Champions.
And it's Nathan Lyon who finishes things off.
Yeah, well, Lyon finishes with 4, and look at what it means to this group of players.
We came into this, everyone had slightly different preparation, but as you saw out there, everyone was switched on, played really well, and we'll savour this for a few days and then before we turn our attention.
And I'll ask a similar question to you about Test cricket and what this match as an occasion you feel does for the game, for this format.
Oh, it's huge. You ask anyone in our change room, this is our favourite format. We grew up watching Test cricket, we love it. It challenges you in more ways than any other format, and I think when you win, it's the format you get the most satisfaction with. So, absolutely, it's here to stay. We love playing it, and you saw the turnout this week. It's been fantastic.
Fantastic indeed. Australia following New Zealand as World Test champions. Fazir Mohammed follows no one. He is the top analyst here in the region, and he's owned by SportsMax. Fazir Mohammed, how are you doing on this Monday? Did Faz freeze? Oh,
yeah, after you said that, after you said he was owned by us, he froze.
That wasn't my fault, was it, Mariah?
Why did you do that to Faz?
Why did I do that? Do you know that's
unfreeze him?
Do you know that's an infamous Fazir Mohammed piece of commentary? Why did he do that?
Yeah, I didn't.
Yes.
Unfreeze him.
Fazir Mohammed is back. Faz, how are you?
Well, I think I'm unfrozen now. So maybe the fact that I'm owned by SportsMax caused it to freeze up, but I'm happy to be still owned.
Faz, I know you picked Australia to win the World Test Championship. Were you surprised at the manner in which they did it, though, the relative comfort in which they put away India in this final?
Yeah, yes, I was. Certainly on the first day, I think Rahul Dravid, the head coach and, of course, outstanding former batsman, acknowledged it, that they essentially lost the game on day 1 from 76 for 3 to then be 360 odd for 3 by the end of the day, represented not just a fantastic recovery, but India losing the plot. And from that point on, it was very difficult to pull it back. And again, let's be real about things. 176 for 3 looks very good on the last day, but again, it's not for no reason that only 3 times in 146 years of Test cricket that a team has successfully chased 400 plus for victory, the West Indies of course being one of them. So it was always going to be difficult. Even if India got up to 276 for 3, a breakthrough at that point could still trigger a slide to defeat, and therefore it was always going to be difficult. But again, yes, I felt that India certainly weren't as focused as they should have been on day 1, and they found it very, very difficult from that point onwards to regain lost ground.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the numbers coming out of this test match, and one thing that stood out to me is that the India top 5 scored one half-century in the entire game. That was Ajinkya Rahane. And I guess some individuals might point to the fact that you left out Ravi Ashwin before the game. But when you look at it, the top order batting from India just did not come to the party in this game. And that's a massive part of the reason why they were so heavily beaten in this test.
Absolutely. And as we said before, it's easy to be wise after the fact about Ashwin, about so many things. I mean, Rohit Sharma talking about making it a best of three. Why didn't he say that before the first ball was bowled? Because it sounds like sour grapes after you've lost pretty comprehensively. So yes, the batting didn't deliver, but let's not take away from the credit from the Australians, because I stick to my point about bowlers winning test matches, batsmen more often than not saving them. And Scott Boland's effort on the final morning, those 2 wickets in that over, the wicket of Kohli and then Jadeja, and the consistent line that he bowled, I think it seems so simple and innocuous, but we often overlook it. He bowled to a right-hander, perfect line. Then he bowled to a left-hander, perfect line, got the wicket. And then even the new batsman, Bharat, the right-hander, the very first delivery that he faced was perfectly lined. So, again, we often are preoccupied with the spectacular when it comes to international elite sport. In the case of Scott Boland, it was just doing the basics right. Seam up, good pace, line and length, and getting the reward.
Yeah, very much the case. A number of discussions coming out of this World Test Championship final. Of course, the possibility of having a 3-match series. There's also a question about the World Test Championship final coming right on the back of the Indian Premier League. The India captain, Rohit Sharma, had some answers. Let's hear that.
Ideally, yes, event like this, final like this, you need a lot of time to prepare yourself, and that is what we did in the we did last time when we were here in England. We had good 25-30 days to prepare ourselves, and you saw the result. We were 2-1 up until that game got called off. Ideally we would want to have good time in hand to prepare, give enough rest to the bowlers. Sometimes it can be tough because playing T20 cricket, you completely bowl different lengths, different lines, a lot of change-ups. And then Test cricket obviously requires a lot of discipline, hitting that area consistently and challenging the batsman. But again, Shami, Siraj, Umesh, they all are experienced. They obviously know how to prepare themselves and get ready for a game like this. But in an ideal scenario, yes, I would prefer if we have 20-25 days to prepare for a game like this.
Faz, unrealistic expectations in this landscape of international cricket and franchise cricket?
Very unrealistic and rings very hollow after the fact. Because again, if you say these things ahead of the match and raise those concerns because they are legitimate, because we're talking about the showpiece occasion coming out of an IPL, which is a totally different format compared to the Test cricket that you're going to play. But again, credit to both teams, not just Australia, to both teams for the way they played the match and the way Test cricket should be played. Of course, the Australians were just that bit better. But again, raising these points after you've lost just doesn't carry much water. But of course, it's India saying it. So it's like India saying it, or England saying it, or Australia saying it. People take notice. When West Indies say it, when Pakistan say it, when South Africa say it, it's almost as if nobody's speaking. So again, you might hear some discussion about it and so on. You might hear some mumblings and some murmurings. But I don't know where they're going to find the time to allow for 2 weeks, 21 days to prepare for a one-off test or even have a 3-test series.
Yeah, a quick one I want to take up on David Warner, Faz. And I remember what I was going to say when Chris Gayle was about to retire, but the truth is he hasn't even retired. But I remember at a particular point where Chris Gayle wanted to play one more test match for the West Indies, and we had a lot of discussions about that and whatever the case might be. I see David Warner now and being outspoken about when he wants to leave the international scene. He wants to play through the Australian summer in test cricket, get a home send-off. He wants to play the T20 World Cup in 2024. I want to have a quick look at his numbers, David Warner, before we have this quick discussion, just in terms of what he would have produced in this World Test Championship window. 20 matches, 958 runs, his highest score 200, really the only knock of note, averaging 29.03 and scoring just 100. A double barrel question, Faz. One, is David Warner in a position to be dictating to the Australian selectors when he wants to leave the stage? And two, from this point on, what would David Warner need to be doing to be maintaining his place in the Australia squad? And I speak specifically now to the Test squad that will give him an opportunity to go all the way to the home summer against Pakistan.
First question, no. He is in no position to dictate terms. Nobody should be in any position to dictate terms, whether it's a Chris Gayle, whether it's an Inzamam ul Haq, whether it's anyone, because the game is bigger than the individual. If that wasn't the case, Sagari Sobers will still be on the field. He isn't. He's at 88 plus and enjoying life, looking on at what is going on. The fact of the matter is no one should be allowed to dictate terms as much as they've given to the game. To answer your second question, 29 point something doesn't cut it. 35 point something mightn't cut it. He needs to have an Ashes series in which he averages 40 plus, because there are others waiting in the wings deserving of that opportunity. And I would be very surprised if the Cricket Australia selectors, if he has another ordinary run or extension of that ordinary run, bow to that wish of having a final test at Sydney later in the year.
Are you surprised that Cricket Australia has gone on with, I almost want to call it a facade. I don't expect this from Cricket Australia, but are you surprised they've allowed this to go on for as long as it has?
I am, because Warner's been struggling. He's been struggling for quite some time. And maybe the discussions are going on behind the scenes for a dignified farewell, because that would have happened previously with Mark Taylor, with Ricky Ponting, with Ian Healy, and so many others who didn't want to go necessarily, but had to be told quite politely, or maybe not so politely, that look, your place is not cast in stone. There are others to fill it and to carry the game forward, to carry Australian cricket forward. I just wish we in the West Indies would have adopt that same attitude as well. But again, it might be probably a new attitude that, look, you know, let's treat these players with some compassion and so on. But at the end of the day, you have to find that balance. You don't want to appear cruel and callous, but at the same time, the player is not more important than the team and the welfare of the team and the message that it sends to young players aspiring to fill his spot.
Yeah, we're watching this one really closely throughout the summer, and to see how well David Warner does in the Ashes and what the Cricket Australia selectors do. Thanks very much, Faz. It was a pleasure speaking with you as usual, and congratulations. Oh, sorry, that was Lance. I was going to say congratulations on the Australia win, but I should say that to Lance. Have a great day, Faz.
It's only because I'm owned by SportsMax I will let that pass.
We go to a break. Interactive to come.